Boomers are the last generation to experience an extra room in their home or what it feels like to live on one income. In modern day, Gen Z and Millennials find themselves shacked together in apartments like livestock, and if there was an extra hour in the day, new adults will find a way to monetize it. In this video, we're going to discuss how life in the modern day for the average person is living paycheck to paycheck, and the budget's dry and hope is all lost. And if you personally have been enjoying my daily doomer commentaries around here on the page, feel free to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the few of you that go above and beyond and check out those links down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the content right here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
Telling me a car's necessary?
Of course it's necessary.
Why?
Because we live in an era where cars are necessary to get around.
Why?
Because we do. That's just the point.
Young people face harder challenges than previous generations.
So I live with my parents,
Right.
and I'm 23.
Right.
And
You work?
Yes.
Yeah, presumably you're not paying any rent or mortgage or anything.
I am paying rent.
When I first got my first house, it probably only cost about £23,000 or something, but then I was only earning £300 a year. We worked hard and we didn't have a car and we didn't have a colour telly. I think there's a sense of entitlement there that they expect to have things like cars, holidays, phones, a certain standard of living, which they haven't earned.
So I have a car.
You have a
Petrol
car,
prices have
yeah.
increased.
So you don't have to have a car, do you? You could get the bus.
Okay, yeah, but that's how I choose to spend my money.
Exactly, but then you're saying that you don't have enough money because that's your choice as to what you spend your money on, as to what you see is necessary.
Prices
So you're telling me a car's necessary?
Of course it's necessary.
Why?
Because we live in an era where cars are necessary to get around.
Why?
Because we do. That's
Why?
just the point.
So what other alternatives are there then?
Well, you're missing the point.
We didn't have a car
the
until...
world's evolved from then
Yes,
to
but
now.
you can't manage without.
Now, there are a few angles I would love to touch on in this video. First of all, this is exactly what an out-of-touch older person looks like. This is exactly what any out-of-touch person in terms of the modern-day economy sounds like. And it's just kind of like a joke. It's kind of like a slap in the face. It's like, are you living in the same reality that we are? Definitely does not sound like it. But let's touch on a couple of things I really want to point out here. First of all, she says how, well, you don't need to have a car. You can just live off public transportation. I mean, the buses go everywhere, right? Not really, Grandma. I've actually applied for many jobs. I've even, said, hey, shit, I walk 1.5 miles to work every day in the, negative 20 degrees, 6-foot snow winter outside. I live in the Midwest, so it does actually happen around here. And they said, you know what I mean, dude? That doesn't sound so, reliable. I don't know if you're able to show up here at 6:30 a.m. every day, so we're going to look for someone else that does have a vehicle. So when you're dealing with other candidates that have vehicles, which, again, the average person does, are in many, many flyover states, many even cities or towns in every state across the entire country, you kind of need a car to go place to place to actually live your life. It's just kind of the way the modern day transportation structure system is set up. And now moving on, she said that we only made $300 a year. Now, first of all, that's insane to think about how crazy inflation has ramped up the dollar. Well, she was talking about pounds, I think, or it's definitely a different currency. But whether it's a dollar or a pound, think about how crazy the devaluation of any currency has gotten over the last 50 to 100. Let's even say 30 to 50 years. Try to make it a little more kind of bring it back more to, home base. It's just insane to really put that into perspective, where it's like, yeah, maybe you're only making $300 a year, but that individual dollar or pound or whatever, I'm sorry if I'm, kind of bringing it, I'm sorry if I'm Americanizing this, but this is my experience. I'm an American, so that's all I really know about. But it was way more valuable. You could really make that stretch a lot farther, versus the reason why, you really have to make a couple $1,000s a month now is because if you only make a couple hundred, you're literally going to die. Good luck even surviving being homeless with $300 a year. It's literally impossible. So, definitely a different time frame that we're living in, as well as another thing I wanted to point out, how when she's like, well, you're 23, you live at home, right? Well, you better be working. Of course I'm working. Well, I'm sure you're not paying rent, right? Nope. She's paying rent. Now, of course, she never wanted to ask how much rent. And it was almost absurd. Like, well, your parents are making you pay rent, right? I mean, well, every time I've ever moved in with family, I've always had to pay rent. Once you become an adult in the modern day, there is no living for free. Doesn't matter if it's your family, your friends, hey, even the state. You're going to be paying something, somehow, somewhat, whether it's through your pockets or through your behind. But either way, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, opinions regarding all this stuff that we touched on in this video. And now let's move on and touch some other opinions and some other perspectives of the crazy divide that is modern day Gen Z millennials and the way boomers grew up not so long ago.
I mean, these damn kids are so lazy. No one wants to work anymore. What are you talking about? Every single one of my friends has a very good paying job and they work very hard, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the fact that I had a 16-bedroom house by 19 with 4 kids and a wife. Yeah, and back when you were buying a house, all you needed was 2 jelly beans and your driver's license, so it's a little bit harder now. House is like 8 times your income. It's no longer 1 or 2 times. I mean, it's all excuses. I used to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. just to grind my bones down into a fine powder, just so I'd have something to eat. That's how bad things were. What are you talking about? You were just telling me that you and your wife went on 4 vacations a year with the kids. Yeah, but that wasn't easy. Deborah, she had to get a part-time babysitting job just so we could swing that. Times were tough back then. You have no idea, boy. What are you talking about? The economy is horrible right now. Literally, we're in one of the worst recessions of all time. Like ever. The dollar's worth its least amount. Well, times weren't always easy for us, too. Even though we got our house for a couple jelly beans, we only sold it for $1.5 million. Should've got way more.
This is a modern-day portrayal of what it feels like for Gen Z and Millennials to talk to their parents, their grandparents, or sit down at the holiday dinner. This is kind of the conversation that happens every single year, and the reason why when older folks get brought up in conversation in the younger crowd, it's not a very positive interaction. It's a negative take, and they're looked at as a condescending bunch because it's almost like, I've never met a boomer that is super, super humble. They always want to just show off, and the ones that are super, super humble, those are the ones with the real money, and they're just scared to tell you because they probably know that you're going to hate them once you find out how well off they are, knowing you'll never have that chance. Now, I don't hate boomers. I don't hate anybody based off their age or anything about that, but it does seem like the majority of people who own everything seem to be older folks, and that definitely rubs the wrong way with Gen Z millennials, anybody finally entering this adult market of housing, the economy, workforce, all that stuff. And, but these people are getting older, guys. People don't live forever, so these assets will be, open up for the taken eventually, and the game will continue to recycle into a newfound generation. So who knows, guys? Maybe in a couple of decades, there will be another guy just like me in Generation Alpha saying how shitty Gen Z and Millennials are and how we're even worse than the boomers. And they wish we were the boomers. Imagine. Anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions. Definitely want to hear all that down below in the comments.
Gen Z, even though they've had so much bad luck in timing, they didn't get childhood. We took that away from them. We said, no free play, you'll be abducted. We shoved them onto social media before we understood what it was. Came along and ruined either their high school or their university experience. But at least they are the last generation of humans who went through childhood without their own army of servants. And my fear is that Gen Alpha will be raised with so many servants, they will have no need to talk to people.
To play devil's advocate, we're using the measuring stick or barometer right now, saying they're going to be much different because we were raised a certain way.
Yeah.
Is that just us now judging it based on our nostalgia?
This is different because Gen Z has such high rates of anxiety, depression, self-harm, suicide. I mean, there's something really broken about them. And again, this is not a judgment of them. It's not their fault. We did this to them without understanding what we were doing.
The coddle generation, the generation that had butlers every single way they went and had a GPS direction on every single map in life they took. Now, in reality, I'm not exactly sure which generation we're touching on here, but I definitely know that my generation, Gen Z, there wasn't much of a roadmap. I mean, the roadmap that we're, even with the last few videos touched on with the millennials, many of you guys have definitely agreed. A lot of you guys have definitely experienced the roadmap you guys were given was leading to a shit town. It was leading to, it lost. Now we're lost. It led us to the middle of the woods, and there's literally no way out. And we're going to die here? Is there a SOS? Please, someone. But either way, it really is kind of crazy to think how it's like the divide within the generations only seems to be getting worse. These videos I'm doing are definitely hitting a nerve with many people. A lot of you guys seem to agree in the comments. Some of you guys disagree. I definitely think this conversation is, it seems to need to be talked about because the people interested in it is only growing. And as long as we can be somewhat civil and maybe, figure out what's really going on and how we can solve this problem, I'm not saying I'm going to, become president and change any laws here. But, and also some of you guys are like, you're not teaching anything, bro. You're just rambling on. I'm just some random guy on the internet sharing my opinion, bringing discourse to issues I find interesting. And also I kind of try to sway in the middle. The majority of my life I pretty much sway in the middle, which sometimes rubs folks the wrong way. But I really think it's always rich versus poor, not really one side versus the other side. Or maybe those are the sides. Either way. That's kind of how it works, in my opinion. But either way, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions, so feel free to let me know down below in the comments. Hey guys, that's going to wrap up this video discussing how Gen Z and Millennials have it rough as ever, and the Boomers had it easy. That's not the case, though. Everybody has their own situation, everybody has their own life and their own experiences, and I would love to know your personal, individual experiences down below in the comments. So feel free to let me know all that. I do read every comment. I do check them all, and I respond to the ones I see fit. So huge shout out to everybody who's been showing their ongoing support towards the page. These daily doomer commentaries will continue to be pumping out, possibly multiple a day. You guys, if you guys keep, showing the love, the more content you guys will get, and the better the improvements will go, or will get, or will, yeah, I'll be here either way. So I definitely appreciate you guys. Huge shout out to the few of you who go above and beyond and check out those links down below in the description. Those go such a long way to supporting me and the content around here. If you like this type of stuff, feel free to like, comment your thoughts, opinions, like I've said like a bajillion times already in this video, as well as subscribe, because we're, I'm trying to get my subscribers up, guys. A lot of you guys watch, not many of you guys actually subscribe. I know it's kind of YouTubers watch. When I watch YouTube, I don't blame you if this is your first video. If you watch one or two, maybe just saw me on your homepage a couple times, you finally clicked, you don't owe me your subscription. But if you watch my video, if you watch 5+ videos, if you binge my videos for an hour straight, you owe me a subscription. Actually, I'm on that ass. Give me now. Where's the camera? Subscribe. I'm just joking. Thank you so much for your support, and I appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you in the next one. See ya.